Alright, we have a new chapter of Gakkou Gurashi. Sorry for not getting to these for a while. It's a series that I'm often not really in the mood to read. Or rather, if I'm in a good mood, I know that I may not be by the end of these chapters. It's getting bleak, and yet within that bleakness, within that death and despair, there is still a small candle of hope burning. And the last chapter ended quite resolutely, with Yuki saying, "We're going to save Kurumi-chan, and we'll save humanity as well." Now, do they have a plan? Do they have resources? Do they have mobility, agency, power? Do they have any sort of idea on how this would be achieved? No. No. But they still have hope. Isn't that quite amazing? Okay. So this chapter, they made the cover. Nice, nice, nice cover page. Happier days. Kurumi up on her feet, swinging around her beloved shovel. Don't see much of that anymore. Okay, so they are reviewing some evidence here. Mikun, of course, now this kind of representative of Shiko-san, given that she's not around anymore. There was an outbreak in 1968, and there was earlier evidence in some old stories. So this has happened before. Oh, they have a little solar charger for their phone. That's cool. I wonder what happened back then. A news story about the accidental detonation of an unexploded ordnance. That's probably the excuse they gave for the incinerator of the infected. Huge disaster that reduced the population by half. Wow, okay, so already, I mean, this didn't happen in real life. It's kind of interesting. I don't think there's ever been solid evidence before that the world of Gakkou Gurashi is like definitely not our world. Like this kind of historic evidence. On the contrary, most things seem to kind of line up with our pop culture, our technology. Of course, things like the Bowman security system were far beyond our technology, but then, we found out what was actually going on there. Anyways, this time it's already spread so far that it's too late. Happened further back. Even older stories that didn't have bombs back in the Edo period wouldn't have spread easily. Maybe it didn't exist, but it would be difficult. This would be a way of stopping the infection in this region. Okay, so they're trying to think of some technology that would have existed way back in the Edo period, which is like the 1800s into the early 1900s, I think. Anyways, for them to be able to contain an outbreak like this, such that it didn't just massacre the population. Okay, and they're both thinking this, I think, in terms of what could they do to save what humanity remains, and also what is the Randall Corporation preparing to do. Because as they say here, they just exploded a bomb as a cover story and then burnt up all of the infected. So it's not like the Randall Corporation has any kind of qualms about just kind of clearing this all off the map and pretending it didn't happen. So, yeah. Okay, there must be some hint in here. Shiko-san's research note. Ah, yeah. Bowman not going to function very much anymore. Someone who knew how get up to a PC or something. Shiko-san's the kind of person who thinks ahead, right? She even planned for a time like this. Okay. Some way to access her research, knowing that the Bowman system infrastructure was going to go down, knowing all of this. Error mode, right? How do we fix that? Clear error mode with a forced shutdown. Uh-oh! This might be bad. They might lose all their data. This is kind of fun. This is a surprisingly fun little adventure of playing with the phone. I kind of like it. I like that Bowman-kun kind of stuck around even after his arc ended. I said before, right, that I thought that it was a reference to 2001, but I don't really know. But I always liked it because of that. And it shuts down. Let's hope that they didn't lose everything. Let's hope that it wasn't a full factory reset, but just the forced shutdown. Good to see you today as well. Okay, good. It seems like its memory was retained. Its sophisticated facial recognition algorithms are up online, and presumably other things would be too. Please enter the password. Mikun has the best shot at knowing. She was definitely the one closest to her. Here's a movie, it'd be the place you first met, something like that. The first to meet her, so maybe you know. That's right. It was only when Mikun was just wandering around, exploring the libraries and such, that she first contacted her through the intercom. Physical science building. No, I don't think it's going to be something more exciting than that. Can we figure it out? I feel like the details of the plot have been too lost on me. I've forgotten. If I reread those chapters, I feel like it's the sort of situation where you could figure it out. Like they've actually encoded a hint deep in these earlier chapters. But I'm not going to bother. Yeah, I don't know. It's University, Virus, Bacteria, Omega, Oto, Random Council, Random Protection Agency. All of them wrong. I hope you don't get locked out for guessing the password wrong too many times. That's a pretty common thing. Password hint is my name. That's pretty simple. They probably should have tried the hint earlier before poor Mikun wore herself out guessing every single name in the book. David Bowman. Bowman Tanaka? A Bowman? R Bowman? Frank? Multivac? Hal? Hey, see? It's definitely a 2001 joke. Multivac, of course, is a reference to The Last Question, a short story by Isaac Asimov, a sci-fi classic. It's a short read. You should check it out. Frank, I think, is actually the first name of the Bowman in 2001. One of them is named Frank, I'm pretty sure. Mycroft, I don't know what that's a reference to. Mycroft. That sure sounds familiar. Isn't that like a Sherlock Holmes thing? Yeah, Mycroft Holmes was Sherlock's brother. And then it's also a free and open source voice assistant for Linux-based operating systems. So maybe that's the reference there. Sure. And then the Danube, sorry, I pronounced it as if it was a Japanese word, but the Danube, the blue Danube, was the famous waltz at the start of 2001. Da 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 da, dum 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 dum. Da, 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 da. You know, the spaceship is flying and rotating slowly across the screen. Da, na, 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 dum, 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 dum. Beautiful scene. Beautiful, beautiful scene. I highly recommend. You have to be in the right mood. You have to be in the mood for a long, slow movie that you really feel like you could focus on it and immerse yourself in it. But under those circumstances, 2001 is an unparalleled experience. Anyways, kits, that's like the Knight Rider car. Alright, we got them all, I think. I have to look up Mycroft, though. I can't think of anything else. Let me think for a bit. Sorry. So it's the full name of Bowman. And they already got all the sci-fi references I would have thought of. I think it is Frank Bowman. I'm not quite sure who Bowman Tanaka is. That's a joke I don't expect to get, though. So Mikun, hanging out in her hotel room, staring at her phone. This panel looking like it's from a totally different manga. Thinking back to the last moments she spent with her. I couldn't say anything. Maybe I should have talked to her more. Get it? I never really knew Shiko-san at all. This is interesting because, you know, we as readers, she never really had her like arc. When you introduce a character into a manga, you kind of have certain expectations that you'll be with them for some amount of time, and then during that time you're going to learn like their backstory, their likes and dislikes, maybe some little quirks of their personalities. They're going to have some goal set up that goal will be achieved. This is kind of the most naive way of thinking about manga, but it leads to good storytelling and good investment into the characters. So I think it's good that we have these expectations, and then it's exciting when these expectations are subverted in this way, where Shiko-san just kind of fell out of the story with the same suddenness that she fell into it. And that we learned a lot about what she did in retrospect, but not very much about who she was. There's still these kind of gaps between her intentions and her actions, between her intentions and her hopes, or her hopelessness, as the case may be. And poor Mikun, in the end, realizing, like, this whole time, maybe I should have gotten to know her better. Maybe we should have talked more. Maybe it could have been more than just this kind of formal, mutually beneficial, fact-sharing, research-based relationship. Because it sure would help here. She could get into her head a little bit. Think about what Bowman's name is. Think of anything. What kind of person was Shiko-san in your eyes? Lab for so long by herself. She must have been very shy. Huh. And I think Mikun here sees a parallel between the two of them, right? Because just like Shiko-san, Mikun spent a good part of the initial infestation period. Months on months she lived there alone, right? In the mall. After Kei-chan left. All by herself, not venturing out, not seeing anyone. And I don't think she would ever have thought of herself as shy, or thought that behavior was because she was shy. It's self-preservation. It's dangerous out there. There's zombies. It's not shyness. It's just common sense. But maybe Yuki has a point. Like maybe it's like not reasonable to be that shy. Like maybe, or rather, sorry, that if you do have a social personality, if you are extroverted, if you are unshy, then you could never have bunkered yourself up like that for so long. That you would have ventured out, even in the face of danger, in the face of zombies. I don't know, it's interesting. It's an interesting character exploration that's happening so deep within this series. Looking back at these kind of behaviors, and I think it almost asks a question for the future too. Because they're gonna have to at some point kind of choose how are we gonna try to live out the rest of our lives, and one option is solitary hold up confinement, right? Is this okay? She was very mature and a little scary. Woman's Kun was so kind. She must have wanted to cheer us up. How did she really feel? Yeah, between her kind of standoffish persona and then the kind and considerate Bowman-kun that she was secretly running. Where was the real her amid those? She wasn't actually scary at all. I wish I could have thanked her. It's not fair that she hid from us. Just say, she hid her true self by pretending to be Bowman-kun. Ah, yes, it's not Bowman-kun's name. It's her name. It's her full name, right? Shiko. Aosoi Shiko. Alright, they're in. Ooh, and immediately a video message from her. Just when they were hoping to reach out to her the most. Mustafa, I'm sorry for lying to you. You must have realized Bowman was me. Yes. Frank, you are too naive. So naive the four of you would happily go to your death and face cruel reality. So I took on the role of forcing you to see it. Man will not move for the lash alone, to provide a lure as well. This is the carrot and the stick, to use another formation of that phrase. For that purpose I used Bowman. Everything was for the sake of completing my research. The world may be like this, but as a scientist, it seemed to me the greatest possible research subject. I swore that I would do anything to further that goal. And this is, I think, actually pretty reasonable. In the face of such horror, in the face of such hopelessness, QED, no future, I think it's only reasonable. Like, it only makes sense for such a scientific-minded person to thus devote themselves scientifically to at least seeing this through, to at least coming to some understanding of what is actually happening in the world. Right? In the end, someone ought to at least know. Even if nothing can be done, someone ought to at least know. I think that's quite an idea. I think that's something to think about in a lot of situations. If you're hearing this, it means I'm dead. I hope you'll finish what I started. Continue onwards. Do not falter. I enjoy the time we spent together. And that's it. And then I guess from here, they just have her research. What she herself was able to find out. And then hopefully between that and their own ingenuity and the strange half miracle that is Kurumi's continued life, although flickering it may be, maybe they can figure something out? What kind of revelation can they have at this point? It's not like they'll just figure out some miracle cure. It's like, oh, coffee grounds mixed with egg whites. Oh, great. Both of those happen to be in the hotel room fridge. Oh, great. Great, great. No, it's not going to be something like that. It's like, it's hard to imagine, like, what hope is left. And that's why Shiko, I think, is framing this in terms of, like, all we can do now is know. There's not going to be any knowledge that saves us, but learning itself is still a worthy pursuit. Something like that. She's hiding. She's still hiding, I'm sure of it. No. It's an older sister or not. Not. The person in charge is worried, and where's everyone else, right? She's lying when she says her research is all she cared about. Don't know. Same as you, Yuki-senpai. I don't think Shiko-san was a cold person. Imagine whatever we like, but now we'll never know the truth. Yeah. But she did say, I enjoyed the time we spent together. Or was that part of the carrot? Was that trying to be a little kind to them to encourage them to continue doing the work? It's true. We'll just never really know. Damn. It's like, oh man, this is quite the meditation on death. Didn't really expect this of all things, but I guess this is what I should expect now, is this kind of unexpected emotional punch. But like, think about the most kind of complex relationship you have with someone now. The most ambiguous, the most twisted up. One where if you had to guess right now if they liked you or hated you or tolerated you or loved you or whatever, you would be the most confused as to how to actually decide that. Then imagine they die. Imagine they die just like that. And then you'll never, ever know. You'll never, 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 never know. And anything you find out after that, any journals that you might read or messages they may have left or sides you learn about them from their family and friends, none of that will be convincing. None of that will ever make you feel like you know. In fact, it'll likely just make you feel more and more confused. It's a very haunting idea. It's one that I'm probably going to ruminate a lot on. So thanks, Gakkou Gurashi. I think Shiko-san is that part we'll never know. Ruthless, caring only about her research without any weakness. I don't know if that's how she truly was, but that's the side of her she wanted us to see. There's something we can do. We can continue her research. Medicine they injected Kurumi with, it was nothing more than antibiotics and vitamins. By their accounts, their teacher Sakura Megumi seemed to have maintained awareness for a period of time after infection. Presumably they have some form of resistance. Medicine wasn't the reason Kurumi-san recovered. So there's an underlying resistance. Maybe she had to come up. Antibodies. She lived here since way back. Oh. So we already talked about, like, could the school be special? Could the fact that they spent so much time at the school, which already had that kind of weird fallout shelter area and had all of that self-sustaining stuff set up. So something is special about the school no matter what. Maybe the fact that they spent so much time there passed on some special quality to them. Or could it be more regional, that it has something to do with the previous outbreak back in the 60s? That if it contaminated the same region, they have some sort of immunization to it now, that their antibodies are already trained to deal with it, at least in small infectious qualities, or able to resist it for longer. That seems to explain the situation to some extent. If that were it, it wouldn't just be Kurumi. A lot of people would be resistant. Okay, right. Megune isn't from here. Right, okay. Okay, so it doesn't seem to be geographic. That's a good point. What is it about Kurumi Megu-sensei? Maybe there's something that would only affect us in the school life club. Yeah, like eating food grown on the school. Just being in the school that much. Things like that. Maybe. Think back to the most recent memory. The endemic bacteria. Past outbreaks were limited. There must be antibodies. Think. Antibodies. School. NASA. I think that's what she was trying to say with the stream of the chapter 69. I was wrong. Well, that's okay. I think this sort of situation shows up so much in Scanlation, where there's an ambiguity that could not possibly be resolved until later chapters. You just do your best. That's totally fine. NASA. Jesus of Nazareth? NASA, the place where Jesus was born, I think. NASA. Talking about 2001? And a Jesus? What the? We're all over the place in this chapter. NASA. NASA? Something to do with space? NASA. I don't know. Okay, let's move on. An old Oto legend. The talking fish of Nazake Marsh. Shiko-san said me, she meant water. Marsh. Drinking the water of the marsh is the cure. Quite a few regional diseases become huge epidemics when brought into different environments. Omega is harmless, but when taken out, the infection spreads. That might be how it is. Some substance in the marsh that suppresses Omega. How's that related to our school? Hey, Yuki is right. You're jumping to conclusions, and then you guys just work through all the conclusions, and Yuki is still right. Drinking the water of the marsh is the cure. There's some substance in the marsh that suppresses Omega. The marsh is the school's water supply. What is the source? So they were drinking the school's water. They have to go... In the end, it's going to be that they go back to the school and drink the water. Because it's true. Like, Kurumi got better, and then they left the school, and she got worse again. It was the... Oh my... It was the school's water? Source of the Kuchino River? The Nazake Marsh. We still haven't solved this. No. You guys have solved this. You just don't want to admit that Yuki was right. You don't want to admit that Yuki just one-shotted the answer. So let's solve this. The water supply was the cure, and far more people would be safe. Water that only the school life club drank. The emergency water supply. Rainwater as well as pumped up groundwater can be filtered for drinking and for use in the pool. Water filtration can be operated on the school's own power generation during emergencies. Something suppressing Omega, the Nazakaze March and Kenichi River. Under normal circumstances, the regulatory filter system removes that. The school's emergency filtration system is much simpler, so that element remains. These cases got worse since we left school. Generator is broken. There should be still some water left in the tank. Yuki was so right. She was like so right. And everyone else is like, And then in the end, it's like, oh yeah, if you drink the water from the marsh, you'll get better. Okay, so they have to go back to school. It ends where it begins, I suppose. But how does this scale up? Can they actually save humanity this way? By flooding the world with the marsh and something, I don't know, but I think it's worth a shot. Let's go. Someone who was here until yesterday is now gone. So many things I wish I could ask or say. I finally realized something so obvious. Continue onward. Do not falter, is what she said. So now that's what I'll do. Interesting. So in the end, Mikun just embraces the most active, forward-thinking aspects of Shiko-san. You just gotta keep moving forward. The next objective is our school. Alright, they're heading back to school. Well, that's an appropriate ending. It's really tragic when you think about it. That everything they did, well, I suppose, you know, they wanted to research, they wanted to learn more about what was happening, they wanted to secure more long-term food supplies and stuff. So they had plenty of reasons for leaving, but that they obviously, if they knew that it was the water in the school curing Kurumi, they never would have left. They would have stayed there until she was right as rain, you know? So there really is a very cruel, cruel irony to all of this. And yet, it's there, it's obvious. It's the tragedy of it is obvious, that they went so far and they suffered so much just to return from where they started. And yet, the manga isn't dwelling on it. The manga ends here on a message of hope. That it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that they're just coming full circle. You just move onwards. That's good. I like that. Alright, there's extras on the next page. Oh boy, alright. God, man, Waterflame. What a team. What a team. Shoutouts to Waterflame, the eponymous leader of this Scanlation group, who is a great friend to the channel, and all the people you work with. This is quite the project, and I'm really impressed with all of this. Okay, so this is the full translation of the bulletin, where the fish was talking. Okay, so this is like really weird to me. They they assume that there's this Omega virus that is kind of benign and stagnant in the marsh, that once improperly spreading from the marsh has turned into this crazy Omega zombie virus. So part of the evidence of this is this strange story of the talking fish. So is this like, what is real about this? Okay. Topally wounded. 10 a.m. 2 a.m. Why did I say 10 a.m.? The body was that of a source of infection. Near famine, a fisherman rode out into the Nazakaze Marsh and caught us in that way, when he caught a huge fish. So don't eat me. It's for my family. Killed the fish, brought it home, and ate it with his family. Every person in the house was dead. Human fingers came out of the fish's belly. I don't know what to make of it. and any aspect of this could become more relevant than we think. But for now, I think we just gotta move on. The big explosion downtown. This was the incident where previously infected bodies were disposed of, I suppose. Okay. All right, we're on to chapter 72. So I'll read that now as well. Please look forward to that. I think it'll come out not tomorrow, but the day after tomorrow, looking at my upload schedule. Okay, bye-bye.